Master of the TDS has exposed something very curious when it comes to the game Relooted and how it was financed. I'm going to start with this post from Daniel Friedman, the author of mystery novels, who says the South African game Relooted, which is about stealing African art from Western museums, launched a couple weeks ago to a peak of just 57 concurrent users on Steam. A studio with 30 full-time staff and multiple outside consulting firms worked on developing the game over a period of 7 years. Think about the amount of money for that, which, by the way, the game looks like an indie game that was made in 5 or 6 months. And it is estimated to have sold fewer than 2,000 copies on Steam, despite the fact that nobody is playing it. The game has received lavish coverage from mainstream outlets, including The Guardian, the BBC, and the New York Times. How do the economics work out? Master TDS has found evidence that the game was financed by the French government as a form of reparations for colonialism and the seizing of African artifacts. First off, here's the glowing coverage about everyone talking about this game, even Kotaku. Relooted review, a thrilling heist game turns crime into justice, because, of course, Kotaku would even take that approach. This is Master TDS. Narratify didn't consult on Relooted. They partnered with Nyankop and were involved in launching and promoting the game. Everything else is basically on point. I do wish the chart wasn't pulled out of the video without context, though. That graphic took over 2 weeks of research to compile, and as a small creator, it stings a bit to see the core work lifted on its own. Not angry, just trying to make sure the details stay accurate. Relooted was made, funded, endorsed by the French government as part of the French restitution agenda. YouTube channel Gothic Therapy released a video yesterday indicating that Relooted was never meant to appeal to gamers or sell well. It is a part of the French government's artifact restitution agenda. The consulting on the game was done by Narify, and there are hints Narify is involved in other similar games that will be released soon. The most important part of the video is here. So he corrects, Narify didn't consult, they partnered with Nyankop. This is the video, and I fast forwarded to the part that I wanted to talk about here.
Okay, let's talk about this game because, again, I want to make very clear, we are not claiming anything, but based on the information here, you tell me if something's fishy. Let's start out.
This, I don't even need to hear him. Like, the explanation makes perfect sense, because otherwise, why does this game even exist? And how could it be in development for like 7 years with 30 people working on it if it wasn't for a reason as ridiculous as reparations, which is insane. Basically, another code word for because you're black and your ancestors were slaved, but we can't legally just give you money for that. We'll give you money to make a game because of your ancestors. What?
Easily. So this is the Relooted Narratify French Restitution Bill confirmed timeline. French Restitution Bill, we'll get to that. Let's start off easy. In 2017, Macron, this is in France, the person in charge in France, pledged to return African heritage. In other words, things in museums plan to return them. It wasn't until 2018, November 23rd, 2018, where the SAR Savoy report was delivered to Macron, which recommended massive restitution from French museums.
Curious.
Restitution for what? Well, restitution to Africa. What? Isn't that weird?
As in returning items from Africa to Africa from the museums.
In 2018, Nyankop begins Relooted development.
Isn't the timing curious, by the way? It's the same exact time that the pledge for the African heritage from Macron happens. And you want to talk wokies? Macron is the wokest you could get.
That's odd.
Yes.
Okay, but let's fast forward. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Let's fast forward to 2025, July 7th, June 7th, 2025, June 7th, the Relooted first trailer where the African crew reclaims stolen artifacts. But wait, in July 30th of that same year, the French government files a restitution bill, PJLN 871, which returns the returns of African artifacts from 1815 to 1972. In other words, very soon after the game released, there was suddenly this French bill. But okay, maybe still a coincidence, right? In October of 2025, the Mansa opens, which is a government-funded institution. It's state-funded with $90 million. It's for African heritage, and it has a restitution focus. We'll get back to why this is important. Fast forward to 2026. In January 28th and 29th, the Senate unanimously passes this bill.
Unanimously. That's important.
Curious.
Yeah, it's important. Unanimously passes it. However, February 9th, now here's where it gets interesting. February 9th, France 24 promotes Relooted. But here's the kicker. It wasn't promoted by the people in charge of Relooted. It was promoted by Narratify's Michael Newton. And it was specifically framed as having a restitution focus.
Yikes.
And even the person mentioned how, in particular, it has a restitution focus. Interesting. But here's the kicker as well.
It also, this is all in addition to how it was strongly promoted by Microsoft and Epic. I don't know if they had a financial attachment to it, but very curious with the pushing behind this game and where it was coming from.
Narratify didn't actually officially exist until 2 days later.
What?
Weird how that works, isn't it?
Then February 10th, Relooted launches worldwide.
With a peak of 57 players.
Well, actually, hold on. Yep. Still 57 peak. 8 players as of recording this currently. With 7 years and 30 people behind making it, how much money was wasted here? This is insane. Like, it's not just like money, it's taxpayer money that's hidden behind restitution, allegedly, which is insane.
Ooh. Then February 11th, the Narratify agency launches and partners with an Iamacomp. For what? For a launch event for Relooted on February 14th and 15th.
Wow.
At the Mansa in Paris. The Mansa, that is a state-funded thing for African heritage. And they specifically have an event there where they do a press conference and all this kind of stuff for the game with a specific focus on restitution of African art objects.
And it is in Paris.
Yeah, but it turns out that this timeline makes it very clear that there was a number of events and that the how Relooted ended up being in development around the time where this became up, and then ended up coming out right around the time that this was pushed, and that it was used to push this bill, and then it was launch party in a state-funded African restitution place.
Well, honey, if I may add.
Well, let me interrupt just for a second here and I want people to realize we talk about why journos keep losing their jobs. I want to focus on something real quick right now. When you type in Relooted on Google and you just search Relooted on Steam, Relooted Wikipedia, X brings up what I was talking about earlier. And then top stories. Relooted, the South African video game where players take back artifacts from Western museums. Relooted Review, a thrilling heist game turns crime into justice. Relooted Guide. Relooted is a fine heist game, but a better history lesson. Relooted review. So my point being, nobody in journalism is covering this. This is a massive fucking story. How are you not talking about this? That we have Macron pledging a return from African heritage and having all the money repatriated from taxes going into this, allegedly. No one wants to dig into this and talk about it at all. This is why YouTubers are eating your lunch, because they are the journalists. They're doing the work. They're doing the research. They're finding out what's actually happening. And people want the truth. They don't want an agenda. They don't want ideology. They don't want you to push something and tell them what it is when it really isn't that. They just want the actual information. This is why journos are getting put out of jobs. This is actually a perfect example of it.
Didn't the head of Nyamakop say that they got a loan from Landfall Games?
They did.
And isn't Landfall the backing of Wings Interactive, which is based in France?
That is correct. Weird how that is.
Isn't Audrey Leprince, the now former head of Wings Interactive, also on a board in the French government that gives out grants?
You would be correct. We haven't found any connection here, but it's
I mean, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck,
interesting. But here's the thing, guys. Maybe you don't
quacks like a duck.
Believe us. Maybe you don't. What do we know, right? But you know what? Maybe you don't have to take it from us. Maybe you should take it from Jennifer LeFou herself.
Jennifer LeFou said, "Save the date and be our date on February 14th for the launch of Relooted, Purple Heart. After spending all of 2025 spamming about this crazy concept game, I'm happy to create a moment of meeting with the Nyamakop teams and the French public."
This company extorted money out of the government for repatriation to pay their employees for a joke of a game that nobody bought or played. Holy crap. It's literally Dustborn 2.0.
We look forward to seeing you all weekend from February 14th to 15th at the Mansa Maison des Mondes Africains. I have no idea if I said that right.
Very
to
good.
test the game, meet the teams, and address the burning theme of the restitution of African art objects.
So, purposely launching an event in Paris to then use it as a...
I love this. Gamers or not, you are welcome. Talk when it's about games. Like, what are we doing here? Of course, gamers. What gamers are not? What?
Platform to talk about a bill being pushed in France? Weird.
Continuing. Gamers or not, you are welcome. Take your free tickets quickly because places are limited. P.S. Also come and discover Noratify Agency, the new agency created by Mikhail Newton.
And me.
Weird. They may have thought that this Paris 20 that France 24 thing was hidden, but we found it.
Amazing job by Master TDS and his wife Writing Raven, as always. Like, actual investigative journalism. That's what it's all about, exposing the reality of what's happening behind the scenes. And again, real quick here, just to remind you guys, this game was in development for upwards of 7 years, reportedly, with 30 plus people at the studio. And when I played the demo, I was the only one playing it. It was a joke. I was like, this game's terrible. It's just like a mobile phone running simulator. You just run and jump and slide, and just repeat over and over. And I'm like, why does this take 7 years to make this game? Insanity. Absolute insanity. The game has 57 max concurrent player count. It will never surpass that. But the problem is, and it goes back to the same thing that Dustborn had, they didn't care. Like, it's gravy. If it sells, great. They get more money on top. It's like a bonus. They already got paid to make the game. It's like ass backwards. It's not a capitalistic, it's communistic. It's taking money from the people and redistributing it just to do something. That is not a sustainable environment for the game industry. It's terrible that these games continue to get made and get put out there. It's embarrassing. And it's important to spotlight it so that it stops, because I got a feeling this is going to keep going. And thankfully, people like Master TDS and his wife, Writing Raven, over on Gothic Therapy, are exposing it. So huge shout out to them. And that is Relooted. Trust me, guys, when I say this, you're not missing anything by not playing it. I'll leave it there. Nobody for the 10 banger. Thank you so much, Nobody. Appreciate you. Do not need to do that. Appreciate you. I am one of 2,000 that bought it. Creators who already knew it was garbage bought it, then the people who defended it. Well, more people who knew about it was garbage bought it than people who defended it. Yep. If these games can't exist without tax dollars, then there is clearly no demand. It's this is the whole agenda that we're pushing against. It's not about these people making these games. It's not about making a good game. It's about money laundering. It's about greasing the palms, lining the pockets, crony capitalism. It's straight up communism. It's a broken environment. It's so fucked. And as a taxpayer, there's nothing you can even do or say about it. It's fucked. If they decide to allocate money to be like, yep, we're going to make pathways in the UK with federal or with government funding, nothing you can do. We're going to make Dustborn, nothing you can do. We're going to make Relooted, nothing. Like, these games just get made with money from other sources. It's embezzlement. I mean, it's literally all of the above.